How is it going, everyone? It's K-Lumid here, and today we are going to be talking about a Mario Party style video game called Shrek Super Party on the PS2. Now, I love the Mario Party games, and because I love the Mario Party games, I do like to try some of the other party games that are, out there that kind of copy off Mario Party and all that stuff. And there's some good copycats. There's some good Mario Party clones. This is not one of them. Shrek Super Party is not a very fun game. I don't know why some people like this game. I'm going to say it's probably just because of nostalgia, because this game is not very fun. This is a really rough game to play. I don't care about there not being any voice acting or anything. I don't even care about there, not being a story mode or anything, but there's one board. There's literally one board that you play on throughout the entire game. You have one board, and you have 5 different areas you can go to on the board, and there's hardly any difference on the spaces that you land on. It's literally just all about landing on these spaces and collecting bugs and getting bug juice, and whoever gets the most bug juice at the end wins. And it is just not very fun. It is not very charismatic at all. You do have to have some sort of, charismatic presence in your game, and even though this is Shrek and Shrek can have that, this game just does not have that. This game comes across as very dull and just very boring overall. It doesn't really have the charm that Shrek has. It doesn't have the comedy. It doesn't have any of that stuff. It tries to, but it just doesn't. It doesn't really feel like Shrek. It just is very boring. And that's not what Shrek is in my mind. Shrek is so much more than just boring. No, but seriously, this is bad. This is a bad game. I'll talk about the good things first, because there is some good stuff that's in this game. I think the graphics are okay for what they are. I'm personally not a big fan of the, small body, big head style characters that they use for these, video games like this kind of like almost chibi style. I don't really like that, if I'm being honest, but for what it is, it looks fine. I think that the graphics look okay on it. I don't really have any issues with that stuff. The actual design of the one board that you have, the actual look of the different areas, the actual areas don't look too bad, and I like the different settings on that one board. I just wish that there was multiple boards. But the settings that are there on the actual board aren't bad, and I do like the fact that each setting that you go to on the board, whether it be the dungeon area, or you can go to the castle or the farm, I like that, or you can go to the swamp. I like that when you go to these different areas, they have their own themed mini games that you can compete in. Kind of like how Mario Party has the mini games, this also has the mini games, but the mini games just aren't as well done. They're not as fun. They're not nearly as explained as well as the Mario Party games either. There's not really a good way to practice them unless you just go into single player mode and just start playing all of them individually, but there's not really a good way to practice them in the actual board game mode, so that isn't great. I wish that there was a little bit more explanation there. In fact, there's not really a whole lot of explanation for anything in this game. Even when you pick up certain items, or when you see items, before you actually pick them up, you have no idea what they do. It doesn't give you a rundown, it doesn't give you a summary, it doesn't give you anything. You're kind of just landing on things blind and hoping for the best. And until you actually figure out what all the abilities are, you're just basically hoping that you get something good. So it could have used a bit more of a tutorial or some sort of explanation. You have a few different characters that you can play as at least. You do have Shrek, you have Donkey, you have the Executioner. I don't know the Executioner's name. It's a very random character to put in this. You have Princess Fiona, you have Lord Farquaad, and you have Robin Hood, and those are the 6 characters that you have in this game. I feel like Robin Hood and the Executioner were kind of just thrown in there just kind of fill out the roster, because do you know anyone who actually remembers those characters fondly, in the Shrek movies? I don't really know anyone that remembers specifically the Executioner from Shrek 1. I don't know anyone who's ever talked about the Executioner. There's other characters you could have done. You could have done Pinocchio. You could have done the 3 little pigs, have them just as one character that you select instead. You could have had Gingy the gingerbread man. Why would you not have him? Everyone loves Gingy. So there's definitely some missed opportunities there, and for some reason they just threw Robin Hood and this Executioner in here as, I guess, filler, so that could have been better as well. The actual gameplay, though, it's just not very good. I wish I liked the board a little bit more, but there's just not any variety on the board, It's just, you don't even roll a dice. You have this weird, little wooden board that has holes in it, and you throw your marble on it, and the marble will go into one of those spaces. And that's how you decide how many spaces you move. And most of the time, the spaces usually just are battles. Like, land on it, and it's a minigame battle. You know, you land on a special square, maybe. There are some special squares, but when you land on them, there's just special squares that will usually take you to another battle. And it's just like, okay, this isn't really that fun. Like, do something unique with the squares, not just have them take you to different battles. You know, do something a little bit unique with it instead of just doing the same exact thing over and over again. I think that's one of the reasons why Mario Party is so good. Mario Party focuses a lot on the actual stars that you get on the board game, and then the actual mini games are just giving you coins to get the stars. So while the mini games are important, it's not the main goal. Unlike this, the winning the mini games is 100% the absolute main thing in this game that you need to do, and the board game just feels like a kind of tacked on extra thing, if I'm being honest. And I feel like Mario Party puts a really good focus on the board itself, and it has the perfect mix of mini games and board, just making both, just having a really good combo there, you know, especially because they have a lot of different things that you can do with the board. They have characters that will throw you to the stars that you need on the board in Mario Party. They have different little spaces that will chase you down the board and set you further away from the stars and stuff like that. And with this game, you can't really do stuff like that very well. Like, it will send, in this game, they can send you to a swamp, but it's really easy to get out of, so I don't really even know why it's that big of a deal. And not to mention, when you get, when you finish off one of the areas and you get to the very end and you get some extra bug juice, you don't really get a whole lot to make a huge difference. You know, if you're winning the minigames, that's really all that matters in this game, so the board just doesn't really feel like it matters a whole lot. You can also play these minigames on their own in a single-player mode, or, you know, if you want to play them with your friends or something like that. However, just not really any of these mini games are good enough for me to ever want to do that. You know, the mini games are just they're fine at most. There's never a mini game that is just like, this is a great idea. They're just okay. Every mini game is just really just okay, and that's pretty much it. And overall, I just can't recommend this game. You know, I think that this game is something that, unless you are a massive Shrek fan or you just have nostalgia for it, it's probably not something that you want to add to your collection, you know. I got it because I do like Shrek, but I also like Mario Party games, and I was hoping that this would be a good clone, but it just isn't. It's not a very good clone. I mean, if it had more than one board, that would be a huge help. If it had better characters, that would also be a huge help. And if they just kind of fixed up the minigames and just made the minigames more fun and just gave everything better summaries, I think that would have gone a long way. Just kind of explaining the games better, you know? And I'm just not a huge fan of the whole collecting bug juice and everything. It's just kind of, I get that Shrek's supposed to be gross and everything, but it's just not really that fun. This game's just not very charismatic, you know. It's kind of neat that you can swap bugs, and you have this whole matching thing where, depending on the bug you have, the higher score you get out of the juicing it. That sounds really weird, but when you squeeze the bugs, you know, I guess they're squeezing the bugs and getting the juice out of them. Depending on the type of bug, you get a higher score. And after mini games, you can actually swap your bugs with other characters if you win, and you can basically get the best combo possible to get the most juice from your bugs. And I guess that's kind of an interesting idea, but that's pretty much the only, you know, interesting thing that they had going for them, the only unique thing that was good in this game. So that's where I'm going to leave it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe button down below. I'll see you in the next one. You have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.